Give me some of your experiences as a fan. I know you went to a World Series, one of the World Series games, right? At Citizens Bank Park.
Oh, I've been to a couple. I went to World Series Game 5, Part 1 and Part 2 in 2008.
Oh, wow.
So I was there. It was the most miserable Game 1 I've ever experienced. There was rain and sleet coming at us. It was freezing, and it's just like coming at our face. And they ended up calling the game and not finishing. So we had to. They were like, "All right, if you have tickets, you can come back to the game tomorrow." And we were, there were 3 innings left to play of the World Series championship game, and I had thought about not coming back.
Really?
It was that miserable. I was like, I don't know if I want to go back to that game. But we went, and we actually got tickets to the after party, which was really cool to go into the tent with the players and kind of be part of that celebration. I've been to tons of Phillies games because we had season tickets as the Iron Pigs. And then last year, Mark Holland, who's our managing partner, he took Garrett and I to the Phillies playoff game because he knew we were, Phillies fans, and he's a Phillies fan. So he brought us back, and it was a good time.
So do you think if whatever happens here in the postseason, are you going to be at a game?
We'll see. Mark, are you listening? I'm kidding.
I was supposed to go to a Nationals Phillies game in Philly. Well, we went. It was July of 21. Where was it? 20. COVID. Yeah, it must have been 20. It must have been 20. And because of COVID and stuff, right? And I think they had resumed play, and it's hard to remember the details, but we were on Omaha Street, which I think is over by the park, and we were eating at we were getting a cheesesteak. We got there at like 5, and the gates opened at 5:30. We had some some kids from church with us. And so we're like, all right, you guys are going to experience Philly. We're going to go to see this game, and we're going to go get a cheesesteak, and we're eating cheesesteaks, and then our phones start going off. Tonight's game's been canceled because of, there's a few players that had COVID. I'm like, it was like a 5-hour drive to get there.
Gosh.
And then, we weren't coming back. Like, we couldn't come back for whatever, whenever they were going to honor it, or if they were even going to redo the game. I can't remember, but I was so bummed because I never got to see a game in Citizens Bank.
Really?
No.
Oh, you haven't? It's a very good experience. Good time.
I was thinking I don't know that I was just at Busch Stadium in St. Louis.
Okay.
And they have, I don't know if you've been there. That's pretty impressive part too. But I was thinking of left field because they have there's this building, and on top of the building there's like stands. It's not part of the stadium, but people will go up there. It's like a rooftop bar, and it's on top of that.
Yeah.
And they're sitting way up there. I mean, you kind of look at it, you're like so far away, but they don't care. They're just such a baseball town, and they'll sit anywhere.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of looking at this thing like, this is incredible. They're sitting on top of a building and they're just like stands.
Yeah, and I've been in a lot of different seats at Citizens Bank Park.
Have you?
Fantastic ones, like first row right by the dugout, and in the outfield, and it's still fun.
Yeah.
Because everyone is just so into it, and it's just a different feel in Philly. I can't explain it.
No, and the fans, do you get upset at all when people say Philly has the worst fans?
No. It's okay. Tell me. I'll give it right back to you.
You get right back to you. I like it.
No, that's okay. That was one of the hardest things me moving down here is going into meetings with folks and meeting people for the first time, and they want to talk about my family, where I'm from, and I'm like, what? No, we came here to talk about business.
Let's just get to it.
Yeah, so I'm very aware now of my northern roots and how I can come across sometimes. Yes.
You don't mind this, do you?
No, this is good. Okay.
I want to go through a few pictures that I've prepared.
Uh-oh.
No, and this is all stuff. This shouldn't be a surprise to you.
Okay.
It either has come from your Instagram or I don't know, come across things.
Okay.
And then I just like to get comment, if you will. But this is kind of why I like baseball. I mean, I was thinking a lot of different sports, and just the fact that there's a diamond. There's just something so cool about the lining up. And I brought this one up too because you hosted the 2010 AAA All-Star Game. Mm-hmm. I would imagine there was a ceremony like this, right? And there's that kind of pomp and circumstance. But I don't know, you look at a picture like this, kind of what comes to mind? Does the All-Star Game and kind of hosting something and seeing it all come together really just bring chills to you?
Yeah, and this, for me, the national anthem is a very touching point for me because I'm always with the national anthem performer. I've been. So my stance every time that this is happening is I'm right behind home plate looking at the national anthem performer. So I'm watching all this happening, but my focus is totally on that performer or those people, making sure that they're okay and they're getting through it, because I know this is a moment for people. So that's what, anytime I see people on the baseline or the flags or kind of getting ready for that moment is special to me, because I think we've made jokes in Lehigh Valley of, if you had to be buried somewhere, and it's kind of morbid, but somewhere on the field, where would it be? And mine was always right behind home plate where I stand for the national anthem, because it's just, that's a moment in the game that everyone's respectful, paying attention to, and it's the start. And it's kind of like the chills moment for people.
Well, and it's from a camera angle standpoint, it's one of the only ways you can capture both teams.
Yeah.
And the other people there, right, in baseball or softball. So there you are. I love this picture, by the way. It's just this is a cool picture.
Lucas took this. Lucas
Did he?
Dolangowski, yeah.
He's a good golfer, by the way.
Oh, I know. His dad's a great golfer.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
This
Not
is
that he's not.
so Lucas took this?
Lucas took this to me. I was actually waiting for a contest and just kind of like, I knew I was going down to a contestant down in the seating bowl, so I was just kind of waiting, watching at the top, and he must have just been walking by thinking, oh, this is a cool picture, and he took it, and he sent it to me, and I made it one of my profile pictures at one point because I liked it too.
Is 13 special to you?
Yeah, that's been my number since I was a kid. Playing softball since I was, I don't even know, 6, 7, 8. And when you get to a point where you're like 11, 12, getting into the travel ball, and what's my number going to be? And I was like, oh, Nolan Ryan's 31, but there was 24 was another big number. And my dad's like, why don't you go with 13? People don't like number 13. It's unlucky. You'll always get your number. I said, all right. And I always had my number. Somehow in high school, I got my number. In college, I got my number. So I've always been number 13.
Can I tell you a funny story about 13?
Go for it.
I was telling you about my first year of Little League, and I was number 6. Okay. And this is in McLean. We didn't, McLean, Virginia. We wore only sponsored jerseys. So I played for Lipscomb's Insurance, and we played Naval Air and McLean Jewelers and Rocco's Pizza. There was no Orioles or Nationals or anything like that. So I was playing on this team, and we get into the playoffs, and I always had a queasy stomach. So if somebody like lit up a cigarette around me, I would throw up, or even having 4 kids and diapers. That's nothing I have ever gotten acclimated to. But my coach, and of course, this is a day and age where you could probably ride it with an adult in the car. You can't really do that anymore. And my coach picked me up and took me. We were going to go to McDonald's before our game. We went for like breakfast together, and then we went to the game because I would always need a ride. I lived with my grandparents and whatever. It was just more. I was always like, I'm not going to be a burden on anyone. I want to do all these activities. I'll find my own ride. And so we go to McDonald's and we have this nice breakfast. And then he was a smoker. And he smoked like cigars. I get into the back seat, and I just throw up everywhere. And he's like, it's gross. And I think he was probably a grandpa at this time, so he probably had been through that with kids and stuff. And I was like, I'm sorry, Mr. Dukas. Oh, I'm sorry. And he goes, all right. So we're supposed to go play a game. And he just reaches into the trunk, and I was number 13. And I was like, all right, I'm digging this. And my aunt was proud because she was a softball player, and she wore 13.
So you got it all over your jersey shirt and had to get a new one?
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's what I'm saying. Okay. I got all over my jersey. Okay. I should have filled that in. No, it was everywhere, and I don't think he probably burned it. You just like, whatever. You're now number 13. I'm like, all right, cool. He had a couple jerseys left. Yeah. And I never really wore it after that because it wasn't available. I probably would have, but it wasn't always available.
I think it's now popular. It's now a popular number, but
because of A-Rod. Didn't he wear 13 for a while?
Yeah, I don't even know, but I just know it's like people like the things that were not cool at one point. Makes it cool now.
I think he was 3 when he was a shortstop for the Rangers. He was 3, and then when he went to the Yankees, of course, you're not going to wear number 3. It's Babe Ruth, so he had to wear 13.
That makes sense.
I guess maybe some people were A-Rod fans, right? What else do I got here? So this is cool. This is you in action. I think you're doing some trivia or something, right? Mm-hmm. How often do you do this every game, or do you alternate with like Ricky, or how does this work?
So in Lehigh Valley, I did everything, all the announcing, all the emceeing. I enjoy it, but I know it's Ricky's turn. It's kind of how when I came on board, he was already kind of part of the staff, and in talking to the staff when I got here, I was like, all right, tell me what you think your role is, and I want to know what your thought process is and what you're doing day to day so I can kind of see where you fit into everything. And Ricky was hired to do Rob Sternberg's job because he was in radio. And I guess from a standpoint of, and this was not Garrett, this was another person that was in charge at that point and thinking, well, he can do radio and he can cut music. He can do that. And when Ricky was telling me what he did, I'm like, I think you're more of like the on-field MC. I think you're more of like, I think you'd probably excel more in that area. And you're from this area. People are going to like you. You've got a following from radio.
Yeah.
I think we need to make you the on-field MC. He's like, I think you're right. I think I'm agreeing with you on that one. But I do still from time to time, like I'll split it with him and he'll do a lot of the on-field things, but when it's back to back, you kind of can't go here. It's really hard to go from one to another to another to another.
Yeah.
So I'll do maybe 2 a night, 2 contests, and he does the rest.
Are those promotional sunglasses you were wearing? Do you remember? Are those yours?
Think those were mine.
I couldn't
they
remember.
were from like CVS and they're not expensive at all.
Oh, I can't remember. You guys had a
Gooders.
Gooders, yeah.
That's what we were this year. We totally went all in on the Gooders. So they are sponsored. They're from California. They're sunglasses that are polarized sunglasses, and they're more of an inexpensive sport sunglasses that you can purchase, and they're still durable and good. So we kind of, between our promo crew, me, Ricky, and Renee, we tried to match our sunglasses throughout the season this year. So that I'm sure will continue next year. So if you're looking on the field and wondering why are they wearing these weird glasses, it's because we're trying to, make it fun for ourselves.
I think it's cool. I wonder how long his hair is going to be. Is he going to keep growing it?
I think his wife really likes it.
Really?
So, yeah. I think he likes it, too. There's probably going to have to be some sort of cut here and there, trim, maybe. But, yeah he's all in on that hair.
There's your picture.
There it is.
There's you at the zoo. And that's a raccoon?
That's a raccoon. That's Miko the raccoon. And the Lehigh Valley Zoo did experiences where you could pay to feed the raccoon or the sloth or there were 3 total. And when I had accepted the job and told them I was going to be going to the Rocket City Trash Pandas, they're like, oh my God, you have to do this with Miko. And so I went in and I did the experience and fed him. And it was cute.
So related to that, obviously it's a cute animal. And I understand that the timing of Guardians of the Galaxy coming out helped us, the Trash Pandas name, because they had the cute raccoon in the movie, right? Mm-hmm. And I've heard you talk about that before, and it was just kind of fortunate timing that way, where there's always some uncertainty on, is the public going to, do we really Trash Pandas? Is this going to resonate? Is it going to sell merch, right? And Ricky, I don't know if you knew.
The Thunder Sharks?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He reminds us from time to time.
Yeah. Although I told him, I actually, when I had him on episode 1, I didn't really pay attention to his drawing, and then I had him come back. And we actually cut a couple commercials because we were trying to I was just like, hey, the soccer team's coming now. We should try to do a name the team. And he's like, yeah, I'll do the Thunder Sharks. And I looked at the logo he had come up with, and I was like, ugh, that actually might need some work. You might need to do that. You might need to get rid of the nipple piercings, number 1.
Yeah. Well, if he drew it, it wasn't quite the same as, Brandiose drawing it.
Yeah. But were you here during that whole name that you... That was before your time, right?
Yeah, I came. The first event I was really part of was the mascot unveiling. I wasn't part of the designing of the costume, but the name and the unveiling of that is really when I kind of came aboard.
And the hats here, somewhat, I could turn on another light, but we have 5. There's 5 logos, essentially, right? Pandas logos. Mm-hmm. I would imagine. Were you pretty thrilled? You get this chance to come work with Garrett and Rob again, and ultimately Madison. I mean, how important was that to you, though, that there was this brand that, I guess it would be different if it was just, I don't know, the Hayfield Lions. You're like, oh, yeah. How do we sell the Lions, right? Right. How cool is it, though, to have something? Iron Pigs is a great name. There's the Yardbirds, there's Sod Poodles, Yeah.
Honestly, people hated the Iron Pigs in the beginning, too.
Oh, really?
They're like, they're going to call us the Pigs. Who wants to be called the Pigs? And then you end up loving it. So that's kind of where my mindset was, is trash pandas, trash. Okay, there's going to be those folks that don't want to be associated with trash. But also at that time, it's going to sound weird, but trash was kind of like an up-and-coming word of, hey, that's trash. You're trash. like trash was kind of a slang term that was becoming more and more used in the younger culture for sure.
Yeah.
So it just kind of resonated with a lot of people. And I was in my mind, I'm like, it's as good as you're going to make it.
Yeah.
And it's a great logo. It's a great name. It all worked out. I think the timing, I hate to say that COVID was a blessing in any way, but people were all shopping online. Everything was online shopping. So our store and the merchandise sales did still continue to do very well because people are still wanting to shop, getting stimulus checks. And, you know, not that everyone was in a great situation, but I wasn't ever worried about the fact that it was a Trash Pandas. I was excited about it. I didn't look at it thinking this brand, this name, and this logo is really going to sell, but it wasn't going to be a negative at all.
Yeah. Is there any other minor league team that even has a store outside of the stadium? It's so rare, right?
It is. And that's a great question and great point. And I think even a lot of minor league teams that have an online store, they sell the online store is really still part of their team store at the ballpark. Mm-hmm. Ours is its own inventory. Because we sell so much online, we couldn't have the team store at the ballpark and the online store coming out of the same inventory because we couldn't keep up with it. So many teams they just focus on their in-store, that's it. Come to the ballpark, and that's when you get your merch. Online is just a secondary, like, hey, whatever we've got, if they come on, they buy something, great, cool, whatever. We not only have a push for online sales, we have an off-site store and the store at the ballpark, and that's just, in my opinion, the size of the store at Hughes Road, too, is just, it's major league. And our vendors, the vendors that we use that are licensed minor league baseball vendors, say that we're like there's the next level in Major League Baseball ordering with them.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I would expect, okay, you're not, it's a Trash Panda store, okay, and you go in there and you would think there might be some Angels merchandise. No, it's just pandas everywhere, which is amazing to me.
Yeah.
Like I thought it would be a little bit more of like a regional, like a Dick's Sporting Goods, where regionally you're going to go in. Okay, there's Alabama, there's Auburn. They're gonna sell whatever, maybe some Yankees gear because everyone's a Yankees fan. And I just kind of figured like, okay, I'm gonna go into a Panda store and there might be some Salt Lake Bees, maybe some Angel stuff, and just to kind of supplement. Nope.
What's funny though is
two stores.
Yeah, and the Salt Lake Bees have more Trash Panda stuff than they do Salt Lake Bee stuff. Yeah. So yeah, it's funny.
Wow. That and so you're just killing it.
We are. Yeah. We're killing it. It's because we also make it a focus. We are constantly pushing Shop Trash Pandas. Here's the new fall line. We're getting product shots, and we're doing it like a J. Crew as best. I mean, not to compare ourselves to J. Crew, but what we try to do, like, here's a nice shot of people wearing the gear at a football stadium or downtown, and just get those lifestyle shots of people wearing the gear to push it and promote it and to show it, and not just have it be, oh, this is hanging on a mannequin and here, buy it.
Yeah. When I came here, I came to the Cyber Summit in September of 21, and I walk in to the summit at the Von Braun, South Hall, North Hall, whatever, and the first booth I see was the Trash Pandas booth, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't. And I'm just kind of thinking, at first I was like, what is that?
Right. And
then, you come in and out, and I finally was like, oh, someone's like, it's the baseball team. No, I hadn't lived here yet. I was just visiting,
sure.
And I was going to get on a plane and go back. And it just captivated me. And I just, I don't know. And then I moved here, and then part of the stuff I brought here was the promotional stuff. I'm wearing the shirt that we did at the Mantech game, but I moved down here, and my role is like, okay, how do we get the Mantech name out in the community? I went to a mixer. I went to the business mixer in January of 22, and that's when I met Corey. And we kind of went out, and he was explaining, hey, we've got these military appreciation games. I was like, great, how many? We're going to do 3. When are they? First one's in June. I want that one. And it timed well we had a ribbon cutting for our new office outside of Gate 9. And so I had this, and this is some praise for him and just your whole staff. But so that now gave me 6 months to prepare. Part of a promotion package is I get to create a video. I hired a small company locally. We're going to do all new footage. Some of that footage was we went with Ace Fiber had rented out the party deck, or some of the party deck. We went to a game, and they filmed us kind of hanging out at a game.
Mm-hmm.
In this company, and they filmed us in different places, and it ultimately came into the 30-second video that we showed at this military appreciation game. We get the T-shirts. I get an interview, half an inning with Josh. First time I met him. But Corey, man, you guys really rolled out the red carpet, because I had our CEO, who's now a very wealthy retired man, because we sold, this company sold last year. He used to be the chairman, CEO. Actually, still the chairman. He was president, CEO. The now CEO was here. Like, I had all these people in town. And when we showed up, because we were going to do a check presentation, all this stuff, they just escorted us to our suite and just made me look good. They made me look good, which was good, and just treated us kind of like, like we were really special that day.
Because you should be.
Yeah.
You're the special folks that day. You should be treated like that.
And I wasn't really expecting that, but I was like, wow, this is cool.
Yeah.
And
Corey's good like that.
Yeah. And it was like everyone got their free T-shirt, and then they gave me some afterwards. And then when the dust settled the next week, I get a call from one of the executive vice presidents. He's like, hey, do you get any more of those T-shirts? Because the Trash Pandas, right? People see it. And I'm like, yeah. So I had to I sent him like 4 or 5 of the extra shirts I had, because it just catches on.
Yeah. I mean, I took 2 of those down to Florida, gave one to my dad, and he's like, I love this shirt. This is awesome.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, people love it no matter where you are, for sure.
All right, I can't remember which picture's next.
Oh,
this is some of you and your besties at a game?
So you mentioned Living Sport, that podcast I was on. So the girl that's next to me, Alicia Marinelli, is the founder and president of Living Sport.
Oh, wow.
And she moved down here and really expanded her business in the South, because Garrett and I were down here and COVID was a little different for her business of taking international students overseas to have these immersive experiences in sport. And she did one down here with the Trash Pandas, and we did a little mini program, and she ended up moving down here and being here. She actually just moved back to Pennsylvania, unfortunately, but we were roommates for a couple years down here. And to the left of her is Emma Martin. She's blonde in this picture, so you probably can't tell. And then our friend Kat. But yeah, that was our first Alabama game. That was the first one we went to. So that was a really cool experience. Joey Cece took us to that game.
Oh, really?
He did, yes.
So I know you went to Shippensburg, but just a special place in your heart now for Alabama?
It is, yeah. I did go to Auburn as well. So
you did? We
did the Auburn experience. It was a day game, so it was a little different. And then we went to Alabama, and the Alabama experience was just, it was a little bit more of what I thought and expected the game to be. And it was awesome. College football, I mean, Penn State is probably close to that, but
about to say,
Shippensburg is not that.
Well, I was just about to say, you're probably comparing it to like a Penn State game.
Yeah, right.
Of what you expect.
Yeah, but it was a great time.
That's cool. So is Living Sport doing well?
Yes. I mean, she's thriving. It is fantastic. She's got Thailand trips coming up. Now that she can be back overseas and international, it's amazing for her. And she's really done a lot of great things. So
that's
really
cool.
proud of her. Yeah.
That's cool to now see because what I do is like when I run on the Bradford Creek Trail over here.
Yeah.
And my research is I just pop in like whatever I'm getting ready for podcast, and I'll type in your name, Lindsey Knupp, on Spotify. Okay. And if you've been a guest on a podcast, then I'll listen to it.
And you listen to that one.
And I listened to that one. I was glad I did.
That was one of her first ones too.
Yeah.
So she's done so much since then. But yeah, that's really cool.
It's always nice when there's something there. Hold on. There's more pictures here. Because come on. Hold on one second. Why is it so hard? Let me go this way.
Nothing's easy.
There we go.
Oh, boy.
So this is I think a news conference, or do you recognize this?
I think that was Media Day.
Just Media Day?
Yeah.
Wearing a dress? Do you like dressing up?
No.
No?
Not really. I mean, sometimes. I have a lot of Trash Panda gear. I had a lot of Iron Pigs gear, obviously. I'm a lot more comfortable in sport attire, like this, but I'll dress up from time to time.
Does Major League Baseball, you have to wear Pandas gear every day to the office?
No. We're business casual.
So I can give you an Our Town t-shirt before you leave? You might wear it?
I'll wear it to work.
Okay. Sure. Here's your college, I believe, Hall of Fame.
No, that's
this high school?
That's high school. That's Debbie Anthony. That was my high school softball and field hockey coach.
Oh. So what did you learn from her? Let's talk about her first. What you learned from her, And then we'll talk about your career.
From her was really reinforcing how to be a leader on the team, how to be a mentor of people, how to be selfless and not take any, like, it's not, the credit is not about you. You may be the one that scored the most goals that game, but you didn't score those goals without getting the pass and the assist from 3 other people and the goalie not letting goals go by that we could win this game. So really building that team mentality and never taking credit for any kind of team sport on one person is certainly not the way to go about it. So just being very humble and just motivating for anybody who played with me and just leading by example, but also not being afraid to just cheer everybody else on and be their biggest supporter too.
So this was for softball and field hockey.
Yes.
Okay. What I forgot to ask. I have a guess. Shortstop?
Second base.
Second base.
Well, I actually played anywhere. When I was a freshman, I think I was playing first base just because we needed a first baseman.
I figured you were short or second.
Yeah, second base.
That's what I played.
Yeah.
I got to a point, like, every year was different. Like, literally it didn't matter. I played center field. But when I got to the big diamond, my arm strength, like, it would fluctuate. Like, when I was, like, we called it prep, like first year of Babe Ruth. So before high school, I was definitely infield. I had no arm for the outfield anymore. But then I started lifting weights and stuff. And then the next year I could have played outfield, but then I played short. But then the next year I went back to second. Like just other kids progressed or something. But it was just weird. Like I would really excel in certain parts of the game, and then your body doesn't catch up or it catches up, and then I
was never an outfielder.
Really?
I didn't. I must not have had the arm, I guess, to your point.
I love playing center field.
Yeah.
Because center field was like, I just kind of felt like you were the field general.
You are. You and the catcher.
And you're just everywhere. You're backing up everybody. You're just running. And of course, when you're young, you can run all day.
Yeah. And you want to be part of every play.
Yeah, you want to be part of every play. I threw some dudes out from outfield. It was awesome. Hold on. And I think, gosh, why am I? There we go. So this is your college Hall of Fame, I believe, what they're recognizing you for here.
I think this
for Shippensburg.
This was part of when I left the Iron Pigs. They were congratulating me on being the Young Athena Professional Award and the Hall of Fame for college.
Oh, I see.
But this was more like, hey, congrats for everything you've done with us for the last 12, 13 years. And
that's cool. Went out. And I guess I didn't mention, part of the reason I brought that up earlier was you can usually tell when it's an amicable separation from a job, they could say nothing, or when it's like when someone's going to be dearly missed. Yeah, it was clear. It comes out that way. Oh, this person really made an impact. It probably still has a special place in your heart.
I do. I mean, I will always think very highly of the Iron Pigs. I still think highly of the folks that I worked with when I was there. Kurt Landis is still someone who, when I'm making decisions, I'll think, how would he have done it? What would he have done? Do I follow it every time? Probably not, but at least I'm aware and trying to better myself based on the great people you've worked with in the past.
And here's your plaque.
Oh, there it is.
You still have it?
I do. It's in a trunk. It's not on display.
It's not on display
anywhere. Yeah, but I definitely have it.
Oh, wait a minute. And there's your acceptance speech. That's from earlier. We saw that with the coach.
That was the one at high school for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So decorated. Do you miss playing? Do you still do anything kind of like yeah, I know you have your softball game, right? Did you guys win? Your team win?
My team did not win.
Oh no, really?
No, and it was the most intense game of staff softball I have ever been a part of. Our staff is super competitive.
Really?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Who's the number one right now?
I can't even tell you.
Really?
No.
Not you?
The number one competitive person in our office?
No, like the best player. Is that still you?
No, not me. I'm too old now. I'm washed up. No. What I do miss though is, and I don't know that I miss it because I still feel like because we work for a team and our front office is so much of a team that you still get that, you know, that level of, hey, we're in it together. We're working towards selling out or making this a great experience or having a great theme night tonight or just getting the crowd into it and making the fans excited. So it's still that like team camaraderie that we have, but I do miss the competitiveness and the organized sports thing. But I'll go climbing here. I'll go running. I'll go to the gym. I'll work out. But
yeah.
nothing organized. And field hockey is not a thing here.
Yeah, that's
no one
true.
really knows what field hockey is, which I've learned. So I haven't gotten into a field hockey league.
Does it just kind of stop? Like,
I think like Virginia-ish, like
really?
maybe Carolinas, but it's
It
not
just stops.
here. Yeah.
It's crazy because there's my youngest boy who you met. There's 3 sports we did not have in high school in Virginia: archery, bowling, and fishing. And they have them here.
Oh, really?
And he's big into archery.
Okay.
And
There's
it's
fishing here, too.
and he wasn't. My other boys were wrestlers, and I played baseball, football, basketball, those kinds of things. I don't know if I would have been on the archery team if it was offered, but it's a great chance for him to do something that's because he's not a team sport guy. And archery is somewhat of a team sport, but he's latched onto it, and they offer it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And he went to his first year, he went to nationals at Louisville, and then there was Worlds at Myrtle Beach that he qualified for.
Wow.
He went to that.
That's amazing.
It's crazy.
I mean, pickleball is a big sport coming up right now.
I
mean,
love pickleball.
That's like the biggest up and coming.
Do you play?
I do.
I love it.
Yeah. My mom got me into it.
Really?
Yes. She's in Florida and has got really just loves it.
That's what's great about pickleball is like you can be the best athlete, 20, 30 years old, and get whooped by a 75-year-old woman.
100%.
Like, crushed.
Yes. Like embarrassed.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And like grandma, they just play grandma game.
Yeah. And they're good. I mean, it's a great sport. And I think I'm glad it's around. I think there's pickleball courts that are being built behind Hexagon over in Town Madison too.
Yeah.
So it's definitely growing here locally.
Do you play over at Dublin Park?
I have, yeah.
Is that where you play?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I gotta play this because I'm not gonna play it with sound.
Okay.
But I think this is. I just need your.
Oh boy.
I just need you to talk about this. Hold on, here comes this Trash Pandas tale. Do you remember even doing this?
I do.
Here it comes. So who are you reading to?
I am reading to anyone who will listen on social media.
Is there a classroom at all?
No, this was what we did in 2020 to try to reach out to the community and do things socially. We didn't have the platform yet. I mean, all we had on social media was people following us on Twitter and Instagram and maybe a little bit of Facebook. I don't even know if we had Instagram. And we didn't have a season. We had nothing to give people, no content to share with people. So this was our way of sharing content.
Yeah.
Of, hey, kids aren't going to school now. There's no daycare. Maybe you can chime in on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. and listen to one of us reading a book online to whoever wanted to listen.
Whose idea was it?
All of ours. I don't even remember, to be honest.
Brainstorming session?
I think it was me, Rob, Lucas for sure, and Ricky probably, that we were like, what are we doing? I think our whole staff came together of like, what do we want to do for events? But an idea only goes so far until you have people that are going to implement it, right?
Yeah.
And this was one that Rob did the background, did the graphics, did the layout.
It looks good.
Yeah.
It looks real good.
I just had to, anymore. We were a daycare service. We did a lot of things.
You sold chickens, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think if I have. This is the problem. I have too much stuff. You ever do karaoke?
No, that's one thing I will not. I don't pride myself in my singing voice.
I didn't think it somehow I just got over it. Like I did some karaoke last year at Miller's in Huntsville because one of our bigwigs was in town and he likes to do that. And I just was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And I ended up doing like 4 or 5 songs and I just kind of got over that. I don't know what's the word.
It's like fear of what you sound. Yeah, like you're not.
You just never
you're
do
self-conscious.
it. Yeah, you're self-conscious, right? What I didn't know, and I heard this later, was they actually pipe that music out to the street, to the public. So if you're doing karaoke
at Miller's, know that everyone hears you.
Everybody that's out there.
Thank you for that heads up.
And I guess we're lucky we went early enough in the night that I don't think there was a lot of people out.
Okay.
And it was just kind of like, it was also, it's Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it depends on if it's summertime or springtime as far as our people going to be milling around. But we heard that later. We left and we're like, hey, what's that? Oh, it's from the karaoke. What? People could hear us all night? I don't know if I want to come back.
Well, they heard you. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts or anything else you want to cover?
I don't think so. I'm just super happy that you asked me to be on this, and it was fun, and thank you. I appreciate everything.
You're welcome. Oh, you know what I'd like to do? I would like for you to tell the Diggity bobblehead story.
Oh,
Or
that was like
actually,
the nightmare of the bobblehead fiasco in Lehigh Valley.
I'm going to ask you two things.
Okay.
Let's start with this. I asked Ricky this because I pulled up his stats. Now, unfortunately, you and I are old enough that, like, if it was 2008 or 2009 that you played in high school, you could probably go on Max Preps and get your stats. Most high schools, and that became a national service.
Okay.
And you could go and pick any high school, any varsity, JV, boys, girls, whatever. You can get the roster, the results, stats, all kinds of stuff. So Ricky sat here in episode 1, and he had like 2 touchdowns that year. And I was like, you know what? I bet you can still tell me in detail what happened. He's like, oh yeah, of course. So we went through that. But like, when you think about let's talk about high school, mm-hmm. Northampton High School. Mm-hmm. And you can pick either softball or field hockey. But when you think of like the most spectacular, or a tournament, it could be even from your travel ball. What's one that really stands out from just amazing in your accomplishment? It could be your accomplishment or the team's accomplishment, but what really stands out when you think about like your athletic career, a game or tournament?
I think one thing that stands out was when I was 11 years old and pitched the state championship softball game going into nationals, and we won the state championship for our travel ball team. That was really cool.
All 11-year-olds?
12. It was 12 and under.
Okay.
So we went to nationals and we placed, I think, 13th in the nation in all of 12 and under softball, which mm-hmm. was really cool. In high school, I think just I liked scoring goals, so I was always one to be up there and be digging in and get the ball, like anything I could to just score. And I think mm-hmm. I beat our school record of most scores and most assists in a season at the time. And I got my coach, who you saw up there, gave me a plaque, and I think my parents still have it somewhere in their house, of like a field hockey stick, and it said most career goals and most career assists, which is pretty. It's nice to not just get the goals, but to be the one that gives you the assists too. Like you're also there for someone else.
Yeah.
College, I remember vividly playing East Stroudsburg, and it might have been my freshman year, and I had a couple friends come to watch the Shippensburg East Stroudsburg game, because East Stroudsburg is another school that our hometown went to. And it was overtime, and I remember it was me versus the goalie. I had the ball and I did a move and scored, and we won the game, and it was in front of some of my like high school friends, which was really cool.
Yeah. The one thing I really liked about your college career is that you started every game. I believe in high school, in college in Shippensburg. I believe you started every game,
and I walked onto that team.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm. I wanted to play softball in college forever until my senior year in high school. I did really well in field hockey, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I want to play field hockey in college. And my dad's like, are you kidding me? I did all these videos, and I did all this stuff. Like, we were sending stuff out, and I'm like, yeah, I think I'm done with softball. I think I want to play field hockey.
Really?
So I went to Shippensburg, and I was going to go to Moravian College, and I got a scholarship offer, but it wasn't enough to cover a $30,000 a year tuition when you could go to state school for much less than that. And my dad said, well, I'll pay for you to go to state school, or you can pay the difference of what you're not getting at Moravian. I'm like, well, I don't want to have debt. So, yeah, I'll go to Shippensburg. And contacted the coach, walked on the team, and she was like, where did you come from?
Wow.
Like, what?
Were the other girls scholarship?
Yeah. There might have been 2 other people that tried to walk on and didn't make it. And then she was like, oh my gosh, basically like, we have a gem here. I don't know where you came from, but you're here. And then I ended up getting scholarship money after that. But
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you played every game. You started every game.
I don't remember that, but I guess so.
Wow. How did you not know that?
I don't remember things like that. I remember just wanting to win and wanting to play and wanting to score. Like, I just loved that, the chance to do that. And I remember my coach telling me, like, hey, the people that put in the extra effort are the ones that are going to get the opportunity. So I would stay after practice, and I would try to do penalty strokes. And I'd be out there after practice was over, just trying to take penalty strokes, seeing if the goalie would stay there with me, or just putting a stick in the side of the corner of the net and trying to get it between the stick and the net. And when there was time to do a penalty stroke, sure enough, I was one of the 5 that she picked.
Did you ever miss softball when you were in college?
No.
No.
No, I was
You're
really
done.
happy. Not that I was done. I was just really happy to be with the field hockey team and still doing that. And I just had such a great camaraderie with the girls that were on the team, and just doing that sport was more active, I guess. Softball is active, but it's not as much running and conditioning, and that I enjoyed the conditioning part of it.
You know, I was thinking of another reason I like Philadelphia, and I was thinking of Allen Iverson, who played there, and he like Jordan, like never missed a game, and they really never even missed practice. Well, he has a whole practice. Jordan never missed practice.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was
never miss practice.
He never missed practice, and if you look at the last 3 championships, he played all 82 games. Like he was always there. Now we're in this situation and where people are taking games off and all that. It's a different, I guess a different mindset. But there's part of me that just is. Allen got beat up. He's a small point guard, right, in the NBA, and so there's part that he went. He's from Virginia actually, but the fact that he played at Georgetown and he was playing at Philly, but then also that he just was tough, and he came to play, and he was going to play in those games.
Yeah,
I just always really respected that.
For sure.
Were you a basketball fan?
Not really.
No.
That's one sport I never really got into. Not that for any reason or another, just didn't.
Yeah. No, it makes. What was the other point I was going to make? Did I even mention it?
Yeah, you said you wanted me to do something about the bobbleheads.
Oh yeah. So maybe there's one that surpasses that now, but like ultimately, this is a great story of something has to happen. It's supposed to happen. You have a giveaway. You know what? Actually, how about the Jamaican drum incident? Would you rather talk about that one?
Yeah, sure. That one's a good one too.
That's a good one.
I mean, for those out there, the bobblehead thing, just in a nutshell, to give someone who might be on the edge of their seat about it, there was 5. Think of the astronaut racers. There's multiple. There's 4 of them right now. You order all of them together so that you get a cheaper price. They all come shipped together, but there's 2,000 of each one of them. And they're all in their own individual box, and they have their own day that you're giving them out. Well, we go to give out the first one out of the series of 4. And as we're taking them out of the box, we realize the individual boxes with the bobblehead in it are labeled incorrectly. So the Diggity bobbleheads had the ham bone box on them, and it was a clear opening, so you could see it was incorrect.
Yeah.
And this is like 30 minutes before gates are going to open for that first bobblehead giveaway of all 4 in the series. So if you didn't make a change right then and there, you were SOL for the rest of the 4 because you would have given away the wrong thing. So we had to all come together and re-put them in boxes and get it all straightened out in 30 minutes, which was...
And you had 5 minutes to spare, I think, right?
Pretty much. And our vendor who delivered them, because he was also so close to the delivery time of getting them there that day, was there as people were cursing out, who's the one who did this? Who was the one? And he's there helping us do it and just taking it. Oh, wow. And it was fine.
Never would he do that again.
No, and he's... But the Jamaican drums, that was the
that was your All-Star game, right?
All-Star game. Okay, not the national championship game. All-Star game, yes. And the home run derby. As the host of the All-Star game, you also have the home run derby.
So this is 2010 Lehigh Valley.
Iron Pigs, correct. And knowing that only one of your players, one of the people doing the home run derby is someone that your fans know. Mm-hmm. The rest are guys from all other teams participating, so you need to make it fun for people that are there watching. You want the entertainment piece of it. So Kurt Landis went to Jamaica that year, and he's like, hey, I saw these steel drum guys, get them here for something. So we get 10 Jamaicans with their drum sets. They come to Pennsylvania, and we have to pick them up in New York City because they fly into JFK. And Alicia, the living sport girl, is with me with Morris, who's our our Japanese intern. So I've got a Japanese speaking intern, Alicia, and 10 Jamaicans who we go pick them up at the airport, and all of their drums show up except for the big 55-gallon barrels that got stuck in customs. And they're like, don't worry, this is 2 days away. We'll get them out of customs. We'll go back. We'll get them sent to Philly, and we'll just drive to Philly and pick them up tomorrow. All right, fine. So tomorrow comes and Alicia goes with Morris and 2 of the Jamaicans to go to Philly to get the drums. They're not letting them out of customs. Now, thankfully, out of this huge Jamaican performance band, they're amazing. They are like acrobatics. They do the steel drums. They're fantastic, but they need these 55-gallon drums, and they need 6 of them. Mm. So she's like, Lindsey, I got good news and bad news. And this is at 8:00 at night before the All-Star, the Home Run Derby the next day. The drums aren't going to be out of customs, but the guy who can make them and can tune them is with us. So as long as we can get 6 barrels, steel barrels, by tonight, we can tune them tonight and have them ready for tomorrow. So maybe go somewhere where, like, what can we do? I'm like, all right, I know that there's 2 at this one golf course. I'm going to the golf course. I know they're at the shop back there because I've seen them.
Yeah.
So we go get 2 of those, and I'm like, all right, we need 2 more, and we need 4 more. She's driving home from Philadelphia. She stops at the Allentown rest stop, and they see another 2 trash cans that are steel drum trash cans. She's like, all right, we're taking 2. They stick them in the back of the van. I go to another golf course, and I guess I can say this now. It's what year? I mean, 2020.
Statute of limitations have run out.
It's me and another gentleman who went with me, and I'm like, there's 2 right there, but they have grease in them. Like it was their dump. It was their dump pits of like the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these are our 2. We dump them out. We cut the locks off, and we put them in the back of a van. And we have 6 just disgusting different types of barrels in the back of the grounds crew at midnight. And we were up until 4 a.m. cleaning them out and tuning them. We take the Jamaicans, all 10 Jamaicans, the Japanese guy, and the 2 of us white girls.
The Japanese guy named Morris.
Morris. And so we're just there doing it. Then we just let them go, and we have to just spray paint them the next day. And we spray painted them in the morning. And they used them that night. And of course it rained, but it was a great performance. And then they ended up taking those drums with them to a national tournament in California because they still didn't get theirs out of customs. Theirs came out of customs, and we had them at the ballpark for like 4 years. But it was one of those things where if you don't do it, the show doesn't go on.
Yeah.
You got to make something happen. So it's either do or do. There's no don't.
Yeah.
Just go. And we did it, and we had no sleep. And no one even knew in our office that we had done that. They had no clue because I had a key. I knew where to go. I knew what we had to do. We had a van, and we did it.
There is so much in that goes to, like, you just have to make it happen. Someone's accountable, right?
Right.
And ultimately you just make it happen. Was there anything in the paper written up about like vandals stealing the drums or anything?
Thankfully, no. I mean, and this is the first time I've actually admitted that in front of anybody on any kind of media platform that was what we did. It was very much like, oh, we looked online and we just found locally somehow these 55-gallon drums that were burn barrels.
It's amazing you even found them.
I know. It is. And now hindsight, I see them everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm like, shoot, we could have went there and could have went there and there was some there. But it was an experience that none of us will ever forget for sure.
Can I tell you a story?
Yes.
Do you have time? Do you have a hard stop, by the way?
No, we're good. Yeah.
I think you would appreciate this, but when I first started kind of doing all this stuff, I was doing high school. I was just basically play-by-play. I was doing my own ESPN, if you will, for a high school team. And so this predates all podcasts and all this stuff, but I was doing live streaming, and it was difficult because sometimes the internet would go out, or it happened a lot, or the servers we were tying into would fail. And, but I had a lot of, I knew what to do, but it's just a matter of like the technology would break down because this was 2012. But anyway, so we started with football, but then the girls basketball team at the school was really good. Like they were all soccer players, and they only played basketball just to kind of stay in shape. Mm-hmm. But they were like unbelievable athletes. And so, and it was kind of a fairly new school, and it was like once in a generation group of girls that like, this doesn't happen that often. And 2 of them were sisters. And so we started, me and my camera guy, like, hey, we need to, let's just do as many games as we can. Let's just follow the girls like for the rest of the season. Let's do all their games. And so, we were doing that. And then, so I started to build up somewhat of a fan base following, right? Which was fun. But I was also the winter. So then the winter season comes for, this was winter. So I was coaching basketball as well for my son's team. Mm-hmm. I was a head coach. And I had not yet had a conflict where the girls were playing on the same night that, I had a game. Because normally we just play Saturday morning.
Right.
They don't play Saturday morning. Well, the playoffs come. And this team is going to ultimately go to like the state semifinals. And so they were going to host their first game at their school, and they had an incredible record. Well, playoffs also were starting for the youth league, and so now I have like this dilemma. I'm like, well, okay, I've made a commitment to the girls team, and I've got this thing. I have an assistant coach, so if I need to, I didn't think it was going to overlap. I thought I was going to be good, or I could coach our game. I think it was supposed to be like a 2:00 start, and the girls game was supposed to start at 7. But then they changed it to now the girls they were going to start at 5, and we were supposed to start at 2, but it was going to run long. It's like, now you're just going to get into the playoffs, and like now, and like, you know what, we're not going to start at 2. We're probably going to start right around 3, and it's going to be a close call. But I had to, and we're also, ultimately, if I'm going to go live with the game, it has to start at 7. People are, the game starts at 7. My broadcast better start at 7.
Right.
And so I got a hold of the athletic director, and I said, can I come over the night before, Friday night, and run all of my cable? Because I had like a camera up in the press box, and I would sit on the floor on the other side. So there's this long cable run I would have to do. And, it's not my school. I can't just go in there anytime I want.
Right.
And I'm like, can I get permission to come in? I'm going to do everything I can do to be set up, because it's probably going to be a close call. And my color commentator was the boys coach, and their season had ended, and he was going to be there. But no one knows how to like set all this stuff up. I had a lot of equipment. And so I got a hold of him and said, look, it's going to kind of be a pretty close call. I may not be showing up until like it's almost tip off. And then from there, we're going to cross our fingers. And he's like, okay, well, sure enough, like I'm coaching this game. We get into the third quarter, and I'm looking at the clock and everything. I'm like, I got to go. I have to leave this playoff. It's our playoff game for basketball. My son's team. I told the assistant coach, okay, at some point, the next time there's a transition and the ball goes that way, I'm leaving. And I just left. I just left the sideline, and he stood up to whatever to coach the game, and I just took off. And I got there with 5 minutes to spare. And normally I would do all this kind of sound check stuff and whatever, and I just had to hope that, and luckily I had done most of all the setup. I just hit some buttons, and we're live. I think we're live. Are we live? I just feel like I got shot out of a cannon, but it's kind of like one of those things like, hey, when you have to do something, you have to do it.
Right. You're committed to it.
You're committed to it. And you got to start thinking out of the box, right? And making contingency plans and plan A, plan B, plan C.
And it's not going to be, something's going to be wrong somewhere, but what's the least of, the wrongs?
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for letting me share that.
No, that's awesome.
Those things just pop in my mind at times. And well, Lindsey, all the best to you in the off season. I hope you'll get some good rest. It sounds like you got a retreat coming up, but I know you guys work your tails off in the season. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
As a fan, but as a fan who really appreciates what goes into producing, right? A game, 6 games in a row. Yeah. Sometimes back-to-back homestands, right?
Right.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And you guys do a fantastic job.
Thank you. We do it for the love of the fans. So
thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
Have a great day.
You too.